Hey, Andrew. I got that last picture you sent to me. Thanks for sending it through. I was trying to figure out what your teacher was doing, and I kind of get the gist a little bit, but I feel like it's real complicated um with the information he had, so I can see why you were confused. So let me show you another way that is different than on those pictures, but it's something that you already have a little baseline knowledge of. And I think it's going to be the easiest way based on other skills that you've already learned. Unless we could have a whole other session and I could teach you another skill that we haven't done together yet. Anyways, let's see if we can do writing in Vertex form an equation that's from standard form. So you need to have your H, your K, your A, your H, and your K in order to write it in the Vertex form. So if we can remember going back and forth between these forms, the A value in one form is always going to be exactly the same in each form. That one never changes. So if you have a leading coefficient here, it's still going to be the same A value in your Vertex form, just as it is in your standard form. So that one is automatic given. Now, when we're talking about H and K for Vertex form, it is the two values of the vertex is what we need. H and K are your X and Y values for your vertex. So there is something that we have a skill for to find the vertex here. That is using the little formula opposite of b over 2a. Hopefully you can recall that or remember that. That's your formula for axis of symmetry, but if you'll recall, that will give us half of our vertex because this x value is going to literally be your h. You could even change this to h if you want to think about it that way. This is going to be that x value right there. So let's use this to plug in our numbers from our function up here. So remember that your leading value is your A, your in between here, positive 3 is your B, and then your constant over here, negative 7/2 is your C. So opposite of B, since we have a positive 3 here, our negative is going to stay. It's going to change the sign of whatever's here. So negative 3 up top, and then 2 times your A value is your negative 1/2. So crunch these numbers, and 2 times negative 1/2 is negative 1, and then negative 3 over negative 1 is a positive 3. That is your H value. I'm going to kind of write it up here in an ordered pair, but I'm also going to put it right there. We just found the X value of your vertex, and that's your H. So if you'll recall in the section where we were working in standard form, if you have the X value and you want the Y value, well, that's your output over here. Now we can just take our original function that we have up there, and everywhere that we have an X, in goes a 3 because we just solved for the X portion. Whoops, 3 right there. And then the rest of it. So get your X value first. We're going to plug in here, and that's going to give us our Y value when we solve this. So exponents first, negative 1/2 stays here, and then 3 squared is 9. And then 3 times 3 we can go ahead and do is 9. And carry your constant down. Negative 1/2 times 9, let's just keep it as not negative 9/2 right now. You can use your calculator for this at this point. Remember to put parentheses around fractions if you're using your calculator here, but you can punch this in your calculator, just make it look like this when you punch in. But if we're doing it by hand, these guys right here have a common denominator, so negative 9 minus 7 up top there. We'll go ahead and put those together as negative 16/2 there, and then we still have a plus 9. Negative 16 over 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 plus 9 is 1, and that is your Y of your vertex. Now, I didn't give myself a lot of room here at the very end to finish it, so I'm going to squeeze it in here. We have our vertex 3, 1, so that is our H and our K. We already had A from the beginning, so let's go for vertex form. I put f of x instead of y, doesn't matter. So this guy up here is what we're plugging in for. A goes in, -1/2. Next is your x minus. H goes in. Your h is 3. So it's in as x minus 3 right there. Squared is always there. And then plus your k. K is 1. So that is an easy enough way to get your vertex form if you can just remember this little trick for that formula right there for your x value of your vertex. So if you get that and get started, you can get all the pieces that you need and then plug them into your vertex form. All right, ask me any more questions if that doesn't make sense, but I hope that helps. And unless he's really needing you to do it the way he did it in the book, I would try this method because it's going to be a lot easier than what the pictures were showing.